In Chicago's drill scene, getting caught by the ops is one thing, but getting dissed by your own set after you're gone is a whole different type of violation. That's what happened when 600's own Domo600 was at a block party on 66th and Cottage Grove. And instead of closing ranks, one of his most well-known homies, Memo600, used the moment to take a at him. He jumped online, implying Domo's came from chasing a shorty, fueling rumors of a backdoor move or personal drama, and leaving a lot of people questioning why a crew member would air out that kind of talk while the body was still fresh. In a city where respect for the is already rare, seeing it come from inside the camp made Domo's murder one of the most talked about losses in 600's recent history. Domo600's last night. News came out that 600 member Domo600 was and killed at a party in Chicago. He was tied in with Tay Capone, M. Thang, and 600 Trigger, with some saying he and Trigger were related. His death happened the day after King Von's birthday, when the whole scene was posting tributes and RIPS for Von. Around the same time, 600 Trigger called out a couple of block members on Instagram for acting like they were close to Von when he was alive. He posted "Long live Von" and told them to stop chasing clout off his name, saying Von didn't mess with them when he was here and to get their own motion. Trigger, being one of the older original 600 members and a drill vet, has seen this happen plenty. People claiming ties to someone after they're gone when they never had that bond in real life. Ironically, Domo600 had just posted a tribute to King Von on his Instagram story hours before he was on Von's birthday. According to Chicago Scanner, a call came in from 67th and Cottage Grove about a male shot in the head in West Woodlawn. Another update confirmed the victim, a 34-year-old male, had multiple wounds to the abdomen, chest, and head at 6698 South Cottage Grove. Spot News also reported it, noting that police applied a chest seal at 5:26 a.m., but he was pronounced dead on scene at 5:28 a.m. by Dr. Tatteris at the University of Chicago Medical Center. The location was deep in the hood, only a few blocks from O Block, an area known for heavy gang activity and long-standing beefs. For someone from 600 and well-known in the city, being at a party there in the middle of summer was high risk. Reports say Domo600 was hit 3 times, chest, abdomen, and head, suggesting he was aiming to kill. The incident didn't get major media coverage, but street rumors point to him being at a block party on the 6600 block of Cottage Grove. Some say it might have started from an argument. Others believe an op spotted him and made a move. The way he was hit doesn't match straight. It looked targeted. In a party setting, it's easy to get caught lacking, especially if there's a crowd and someone sees you first. Whether it was a dispute or a targeted hit, to the upper body and head show clear intent to take his life. Being out in the summer in areas where ops could be posted always carries that risk, and Domo's is another case of someone getting caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Domo600 came just days after the mass at a Mellow Bucks performance, adding to a long pattern of violence at Chicago parties. In the city, it's been common for functions to up, a cycle going back over a decade. For anyone known in the streets, especially in active gang areas, being at a public event carries serious risk. After the news broke, people close to Domo said he wasn't in the streets heavy anymore and was focused on taking care of his family. He was a father, and his son reacted to the news on social media, writing, "I love the fuck out you pops on my grandma. You just hurt me. What the f I'ma do without you? I wish I stayed home last night. I ain't never think that was gonna be my last time hearing you pops. I'ma make this make sense, I promise." Even if Domo600 wasn't active like that anymore, just having 600 in front of his name and being known as part of the set was enough to make him a target. In Chicago, Get Back doesn't have an expiration date. Ops can come for you years later, even if you've left the streets behind. It's not always about what you personally did. It's about what you claim and the flag you rep. To the ops, hitting you is a way to give your side the same pain they felt, whether or not you were the one who put in work. The ones who actually their people might already be dead or locked up, but you're still a face they recognize. In Domo's case, somebody clearly decided to act on that, regardless of what his street involvement was at the time. Even when someone from the drill era tries to step away from the streets and focus on family, the past can still catch up. Domo600's situation is another example. Once you're tied to a name and a set, it's hard to fully escape. 600 Trigger and Tay Capone had recently said in an interview that they'd grown out of the drill politics, wanted to move on, and keep their 600 link-ups off social media to avoid attention. But staying in Chicago keeps the risk alive. The ops don't forget, and when a well-known face gets hit, it puts Get Back on people's minds, pulling them right back into a cycle they were trying to leave. In the streets, nobody talks, even if they saw it happen. because the code keeps people silent, and that silence lets the cycle keep going. Nobody's going to publicly say who did it, but people in the circle know. With all the ring cameras and surveillance around, it's likely the shooting was caught on video, and at some point that footage might surface. For now, it's confirmed. It was Domo600, not Trigger, who was killed, with many saying the two were related. His death adds to a long list of drill-era names either or locked up. Outside of Chief Keef, who moved to LA years ago and stayed out the streets, most from that era have been caught in the cycle. King Von, L.A. Capone, Young Pappy, E-Die, all gone. Rondo Number 9, D. Rose, and others serving time for murder. Even big names like Lil Durk, despite his success and industry ties, are still fighting serious cases. The pattern's clear. In Chicago's drill scene, if you don't leave the streets completely, the streets eventually catch up. Capo, FBG Duck, Lil Jeff, Q50, Lil Queso, Fully Chopped, Lil Speedy. The list of names from the scene who've been killed or locked up keeps growing. A lot of them had real money coming in, cars, jewelry, and women, but still stayed active in the streets. The cycle doesn't slow down because ops don't forget, and the dissing, sliding, and illegal moves keep the beef alive. Even for those with the means to leave, buy property, or move to safer areas, many stay tied to the block and the politics that come with it. Domo600's is just the latest reminder that in Chicago's drill scene, walking away completely is the only way to avoid the outcome most of these names have faced truly. It was already hard enough for 600 to lose Domo, but the blow hit even harder when one of their own turned around and dissed him, from brothers to targets. After the news broke, Memo600 dissed Domo, his own 600 member. This ain't the first time they had tension. Back when M-Thang and others came home, there was an interview where Domo claimed Memo told on his brother Lil Steve. It seemed like they talked it out and the team was back together, but Memo kept the grudge alive. They hadn't gone back and forth online in a while, but once Domo died, Memo jumped on social media saying him and claiming he trying to get with a girl, right after Domo's mom and family put out a statement mourning him. Memo's been vocal for years, but it's made him targets inside and outside his own set. He's been beefing with O-Block over Munna Duke, constantly saying Munna Duke, even though the original issue was over a female. That beef got serious. Munna Duke already Memo before. Now with 600 politics fractured and O-Block watching him, it's looking like Memo can't even move freely in his own hood. The music ain't been hitting like it used to. Durk and them distanced themselves, and the street situation got him boxed in with more ops and internal enemies than allies. Memo600 kept going at Domo even after he died, calling him out and saying he got chasing a girl. In Chicago and anywhere else, once somebody's gone, they can't slide on you, can't troll you, can't touch you. It's over. But when you keep dissing the you pull in family and people who had nothing to do with the original beef. A cousin, a sister, a female friend might see you in public and make the call, and now you got a whole new setup coming your way. Memo is making it worse by going at his own 600 members, not just ops. 600 got members all over, Atlanta, other cities. It's not just the block in Chicago. That means catching him ain't as hard as he might think. This kind of trolling puts his own circle in danger too. If you're seen with Memo in an interview or in public, you might become a target just off association. From what people say, Domo wasn't even deep in the politics. Those were his little brother's lanes. But when Memo disrespected them, Domo stood up for his people. That's where the line got drawn, and that's the kind of move that can have long reach in the streets. Memo disrespected Domo's brother first, and that's why Domo stepped to him and spoke on it. But now with Domo gone, Memo still came out saying, "You died chasing cat," which hits different when you've been around the man's family, been in their house, they've been to your brother's funeral, slept in the same crib. That's more than a diss. That's a direct slap at people who once saw you as close. It's the type of move that turns personal history into street smoke. When you disrespect the like that, you're not just going at them, you're disrespecting the ones left behind. And in Chicago politics, that can come back from anywhere, not just from direct ops. People had been waiting to hear from him because there was past tension. Memo had beef with Trigger, who was Domo's brother, and there were rumors he also had issues with Domo himself. Domo was more laid back and stayed in the background, but still had a reputation. When Memo finally addressed it, he made a post saying chasing women is the reason you end up dead. It came off as him implying Domo's wasn't from ops catching him lacking, but from being backdoored or targeted over a woman. He didn't directly diss Domo or call him names, but the wording was strong and blunt, and a lot of people felt it was mean-spirited for someone he grew up with. Memo's post fueled rumors about what really happened. Some on the streets believe it was gang-related, tied to the fact Tuka's birthday fell on the same day, and there was tension from 600's long-standing rivalries. Ops from the other side, like Billionaire Black, dismissed Domo outright, while saying RIP Tutu, hinting at possible connections between Tutu and people around Domo. Others back Memo's angle, saying it might have been personal, tied to a woman, and possibly a backdoor situation. Despite being seen as a more laid-back figure, Domo had done time in prison, and people said inside he played the role of an enforcer. The situation highlights how even if someone's been out of the mix for years, raising a family and minding their business, there are still people in Chicago who haven't moved on. Old beefs and get-back energy stay alive. Memo's words suggested that whatever the motive, Domo's wasn't random, and that thinking with your in certain situations can get you lined up just as easily as op beef. Domo600 was from 600, brother to M Thang, Trigger, and D Thang. Last time he was seen in pics, he was with Munna Duke and Young. This don't look like no op hit. No FBG, no JoJo World, none of that. It's looking like his own people did it. Normally, when someone from one side gets dropped, the ops celebrate. Now, they don't even pop out with the jokes. That's how bad it's getting. Trigger, Domo's brother, just came home after doing a long stretch. Back before prison, they were in the field together, moving tight. Now he's home to a different scene. Guys he used to run with are into it with other homies. That puts him in a tough spot. Memo600 keeps dissing Munna Duke, and even if that's not tied to this, in the streets, constant disrespect gets answered. The drill scene's been shifting, less about ops, more about internal beef. People who were once side by side are now turning on each other. Domo's hits close for a lot of people, especially those who knew him personally. Rest in peace to Domo600. Memo600 been into it heavy lately. O-Block, Laron, and Tay-Town all on his name. At the same time, more losses hitting the streets. The streets keep spinning, but when bodies drop, most of the ones catching cases don't even have bond money or lawyer money. No matter the set, BD, GD, Stones, VL, when you get locked, you end up in the same spot, on DJU's couch, telling the same story about how nobody looked out. Barely anyone sent bread, and you came home broke.
UTV, let them know who we got in the building.
We got Big Sister in this Domo600, insurance claim, all type of new watches, and you know what's going on.
Memo600, what you on, gang?
Domo already lost his brother D Thang. Trigger just came home after 6 years telling the guys to focus on money and stay out the way, but the streets kept sliding. Last time Domo was seen, he was with Munna Duke and Ray Ray. Since then, everything's been spiraling. Backdooring been a thing, but now it's getting worse. Memo's name stays in the mix because he keeps saying Munna Duke and dissing homies. Even if he not tied to this situation, that type of talk can make his own circle targets. A homie loses a brother, hears you been disrespecting, and decides to slide, not the ops, your own people. If you ain't really outside, staying active in wars and woofing online just puts heat on your guys. Inside the Munna Duke and Memo600 fallout, Chicago's drill scene been full of BD on BD tension that turns small drama into real smoke. And the situation between Munna Duke and Memo600 is one of those cases. Both came up repping different BD sets. Duke from O-Block, Memo from 600. Two crews that were supposed to be locked in, but had a long, messy history. Politics between sets, shifting alliances, and the constant need to protect your rep meant it only took a small violation to turn homies into ops. Munna Duke was known as a certified O-Block stepper. Growing up in Parkway Gardens, he learned early that respect had to be taken, not given, and weakness wasn't an option. The BD flag wasn't just colors to him. It was identity, family, and survival in a hood where seeing 18 was an accomplishment. Memo600 came from 600 with the same type of energy, a reputation built off being ready to slide when it was time. Both were seen as real steppers. So once tension started, there was no way for them to coexist peacefully without somebody backing down. And in Chicago, that's not an option. Even though both sides repped BD, the 600 O-Block relationship had been shaky for years. Who was getting money? Who was locked up? Who got hit? All of it shifted alliances constantly. Drill music made it worse, turning street beef into content that reached millions. Every diss track, IG story, or interview became ammo. During a no-jumper interview, Memo made it clear he wasn't going to bow down or kiss the boots of anyone, and said he would always speak his mind if 600 wasn't rocking with another set, a statement that only fueled the tension. By late 2020 or 2021, according to drill watchers on Reddit, friction between the two had already gotten serious. One post claimed Duke had blocked Memo up around that time, hinting at some type of public or street move against him. From there, things stayed heated. Duke's strong ties to O-Block's most active members and Memo's position in 600 meant any small disrespect could escalate fast. Pride, set loyalty, and the constant expectation to match or top any violation made it almost impossible for either side to step away without looking weak. And in these streets, that's a risk neither was willing to take, turning what started as internal politics into a full-on internal war. The friction between Muna Duke and Memo600 really started heating up after Memo was on Clubhouse last year saying Duke's name, sparking tension that never got fixed. In BD politics, just because two sets wave the same flag doesn't mean they're day ones. Territory disputes, money issues, and personal drama can flip brothers into full-on ops. Duke and Memo were moving on different sides of the same grind, so a clash was bound to happen. One factor that kept coming up in the background was the female situation. In his DJU-TV interview, Memo said straight up that most Chicago beef has a shorty involved, and this one was no different. According to Memo, the original spark came from female drama tied to both the Low End and Parkway Gardens, turning into a love triangle type mess that couldn't be squashed with words. Memo also claimed Duke got embarrassed in front of women during an altercation with King Von, saying Von smacked him, snatched his and it all happened while females were watching.
That's with Duke on Steve. I remember Von knocked his ass out and took his for showing out in Iowa in front of some hoes on LA. He knocked Duke out. Took his pipe. You want to show out in front of some hoes on old. Niggas be bitches in real life, man. Stop.
That disrespect in front of women made the tension worse. During another interview, the interviewer brought up another piece of the puzzle, rumors involving one DeThang's baby mama, who also had ties to Duke. Memo brushed it off like he didn't care if she was connected to someone in the circle, but his comments in music and interviews about her added fuel to the fire. When you have multiple dudes sharing the same baby mama and one starts talking crazy about her, especially in public, it turns personal fast. Memo's words made it about more than just set politics, with Duke seeing it as a violation tied directly to people close to him. What started as trolling and indirect shots became a real street problem that neither side could just walk away from. Memo600's own admission that females were mixed up with both sides showed politics played a major role in Chicago street beef. Loyalty to a shorty could end up clashing with loyalty to the set, putting young steppers in situations they couldn't navigate without it turning into street problems. Memo never dropped the exact name of the first female who sparked the tension with Muna Duke, but his comments hinted at deeper violations, stuff behind closed doors that went way past just two dudes fighting over the same woman. Once that drama became street knowledge, it gave both camps something to use whenever the temperature rose. In Chicago's drill culture, embarrassing moments don't get forgotten. Duke and Memo couldn't afford to take a public L without hitting back, and Reddit users tracking the beef pointed out how female situations often set off violence. One commenter even said part of the problem was the way these dudes treated women and kids, creating a cycle where personal disrespect demanded retaliation under street code, the cycle that never stops. The shift from personal drama to active street beef came through calculated disrespect. According to drill watchers on Reddit, things got especially hot when Memo publicly violated someone named J.O., who was tied to O-Block during a Clubhouse session in 2023. He clowned J.O., discredited his BD ties, and went back and forth in front of a public audience. In drill politics, that kind of disrespect on a platform like Clubhouse isn't just talk. It's a challenge that can't be ignored without looking weak. Reddit threads claimed O-Block's response came not long after, with a move on Memo in late 2020 or 2021 that marked the point of no return. Users said O-Block blocked Memo up back then, meaning they pressed or tried to line him up, and the tension stayed alive ever since. It didn't stop at words. According to the street version, someone from 600 got hit in the retaliation phase, and Memo barely avoided getting caught himself. That's why people started saying Memo was fast on his feet, able to get out of situations before they closed in on him. The back and forth had officially crossed from trolling into a war where both sides were looking for opportunities to make the other pay.
Somebody got on photo. He B from 600. Memo one of them that's getting Memo get away on photo. That's why they be, that's why they be saying Memo be fast on his feet, because I don't know how football. Memo be getting out of every jam on photo. Just think about it.
Memo surviving the attempt on his life turned the whole situation into a different type of war. Both sides now knew the other was willing to catch a body, and that knowledge made every encounter more dangerous. The failed hit left Memo breathing, but fueled with anger, pushing him to keep going at Muna Duke and O-Block in public. By 2023, Duke was openly threatening Memo on Clubhouse, turning their beef into a constant back and forth in front of an audience. These threats kept Duke's name solid as a stepper, sent a warning to anyone else thinking about crossing him, and kept pressure on Memo. Even after what happened to Duke, the beef didn't fade. A May 16th, 2025 Reddit post showed it was still active, with Memo violating Duke for claiming to be Muslim but eating pork. The post blew up online. Some users laughed at the pettiness, saying it was crazy to call out pork while ignoring the fact Duke drank alcohol before he. Others said being religious was between a man and his God, but in street politics, that didn't matter. What mattered was the disrespect. For Memo, the post was another meant to keep the upper hand, but to others, it just made him look like a. The back and forth had reached the point where neither side could step away without losing face. Every public jab raised the stakes, making peace impossible and locking them into a cycle where the only way out was to win or get stretched. For Duke, that cycle hit the point of no return. On May 10th, 2025, comments started flooding Reddit about his, with some users even dropping RIP messages on his last Instagram post. But the wildest part came after. During his DJU TV interview, Memo disrespected Duke's memory again and tried to justify why he celebrated his, showing there was no plan to let the beef die with him.
Before I responded to that, that man trolled me to gang. I got ain't no way in hell you supposed to be on the internet celebrating that I got gang. Like, what if one of your homies got and some and live? What if one of your homies got live?
When Memo got a few years ago, Munna Duke was the first to troll him, reposting everything and making it clear he was celebrating the hit. In Chicago's drill culture, publicly celebrating when your op gets touched is a bold move, but going that hard, especially in a way the whole city could see, crossed a line that even some enemies avoid. For Memo, that moment stuck. So when Duke got, Memo felt it was only right to return the same energy. In his DJU TV interview, Memo explained his logic plain. Duke trolled him when he got hit, so when Duke got stretched, he trolled him back. What's the difference? Memo asked, brushing off the interviewer's point about the moral line between trolling someone alive versus after they're gone. To Memo, it made no difference. He believed that if the roles were reversed, Duke would have celebrated his with just as much energy. During the interview, Memo wouldn't confirm details about whether Duke ever actually put hands on him or fired at him, sticking to "I don't know nothing about that," while implying the streets already knew. He credited God for keeping him alive in close calls and said that people who moved against him always ended up paying for it in the end. When Duke was eventually outside the Edgewater nightclub alongside Youngin, it closed the chapter on one of Chicago drill's most personal and bitter internal beefs. For all the threats, disses, and retaliation, there was no real winner. Memo was still breathing, Duke was in a box, and all that was left were social media posts, interviews, and memories of disrespect traded back and forth. Memo's final words on it summed up the emptiness of the whole thing, calling it "that heck business." Street politics that don't change, just claim more lives until no one even remembers how it started. Duke's focus on trying to smoke Memo became the obsession that led to his own end, and now the cycle moves on to the next names who think they're different from the ones who came before. The whole Munna Duke Memo 600 situation showed how personal violations, pride, and years-old beef could spiral until somebody ended up gone. And in 600, that same cycle was still moving when Domo 600 got. Domo wasn't in the middle of the Duke Memo beef like that, but he was directly tied in. Trigger, his brother, had his own history with Memo, and the politics between O-Block and 600 meant anybody close to either side could get caught in the crossfire or backdoored. On top of that, 600 had its own internal friction. Memo had already shown he'd publicly speak on members in ways that sparked controversy, and the way he reacted after Domo's implying it was over chasing a woman, made it clear there were still cracks inside the set. By the time Domo was at that block party on 66th and Cottage Grove, the environment around 600 was already tense. The politics between linked sets like O-Block and 600 had been volatile for years, and personal beefs, whether over females, disrespect, or old street moves, had a way of bleeding into everything. Just like Duke's obsession with getting back at Memo ended with him getting stretched, Domo's situation showed that in Chicago's drill scene, being laid back or trying to stay out the mix doesn't always keep you safe. Once your name's tied to a flag, the history, the allies, and the enemies that come with it stay on you. Whether the rumors about Domo's being tied to a woman, op activity, or a backdoor move are true, the end result was the same. Another 600 member gone, another set of IG tributes and op comments, and another reminder that the street cycle that took Duke was still running when it came for Domo. If you like this video, click on a video on either side to watch a video similar to this one.